Hello again, Beardos. So if you watched my recent video on the Gorgon, I guess it wasn't really that recent, it was a while ago, on comparing the different plastics in the Gorgon mold, you know that plastic plays a big role in the stability of a disc. So to that end, I recently did a video as well on the Innova Fox, fantastic new beard rage they just brought out, and I picked up a couple of the Halo Foxes. One from my buddy Ed, from Ed's Disc Store on Facebook. Look him up. He's a fantastic dude. Sells a ton of great Innova discs. The other one I got from Dan Walker, who, if you were from Vancouver, if you know Vancouver Island or the disc golf scene in BC, Dan Walker is a bit of a local legend as well. You've been walkered. If you know, you know. If you're from the island, you probably got walkered at some point. So we're going to test today the stability of the Fox in these two different plastics. But we're going to take it a step further as well, because one thing I didn't test in the other video is the difference in stability that the weight of a disc makes. So in addition to the 180 gram, the max weight Fox that I have these two Star Foxes. One's at 172 grams, one's at 174 grams. But I also have two other brand new Star Foxes, one at 173 grams, so quite a bit lighter, and then one at 165 grams. So we're gonna get a good look at the stability of the different discs, assuming that I can actually throw them all flat and straight. All right, let's get right into it, shall we? Starting with the Star Fox. Oh, a little high. Oh, that's got a lot of turn to it. Look at that. Very nice. Let's try the lighter weights first before we do the Halo. We're gonna go with the 173 next. Oh, look at that turn. Okay, that was a way better throw. This one actually feels significantly lighter in the hand. Still beautiful understability on that. Look at that go. All right, let's try these Halos. Let's see if these are going to be any more overstable, or I guess really less understable is what I'm looking for. So these should go pretty straight. Here's hoping. And nope, that's pretty much exact. I mean, it's got a tiny bit of finish at the end there, you can see. Maybe that's the only difference. Let's try this one here at 174. Oh, look at that go. Look at that turn. God, that's beautiful flight. And again, a tiny bit of finish at the end. So as we walk up to get some distances on these discs, which you should have already seen because I would have posted it when I threw them, I don't think there's a ton of difference between the flight and the different weights of disc. I think maybe I got a bit more distance with that orange 165. And the big difference was really with those Halos. There definitely was a tiny bit of fade at the end that wasn't present with any of the other Star ones. So that's definitely a difference there. If you're looking for something that's not going to completely go over and is going to have a tiny bit of finish, the difference between the two discs is minimal, but it's definitely there. All right, let's see where we're at. That was actually pretty revealing. It actually showed that the Halo is just a hair more overstable, less understable, I guess, is kind of the difference. In an understable disc like this, I think what you're talking about is that one fade that's really important. Now, let's try to put these on a little bit of a Hyzer, see if we can't get them to Hyzer flip up and end up straight. There we go. Really nice, a little bit of turn. Oh my God, that was beautiful. Wow. Man, just so happy with how that flies. Unreal. The real challenge is doing that again 3 more times. 4 more times. Holy crap. Okay, let's try that again. Definitely flipped up. Yeah. I mean, a little bit more height and that would have probably followed a very, very similar path, but definitely the flight that we're looking for out of this disc. Butterfingers. Oh, that's pretty stable. I mean, it's going. Probably put a bit more Hyzer on it. Very nice. All right, let's see with our Halos, with the 174 to start. You know, that's really similar. I mean, not as big a difference, I think, if I'm being honest, not as big a difference as when you throw them flat. Maybe that little bit of Hyzer angle is going to even out the playing field a bit. All right, last go. Here we go. Again, I'm throwing both of those quite high in the air. All right, let's get a scope on them. One thing I did want to point out too, and I mentioned this I think in the Melita video as well, is kind of my take on flight numbers in that straight type of disc where you've got a -1 flight, and how a -1 flight, so -1 turn, and +1 fade, should not fly straight. It should turn a hair, and it should fade back a hair as well. That's what 1 and 1 is. If you wanted it straight, it should be 0, 0. That should be straight. But I think for the purposes of this comparison, the -2, 1 numbers are probably a lot more consistent when you get into the halo. I think that maybe the halo numbers are a little more. I'd almost maybe put the star ones at a -3, 0 or -2, 0, because it just didn't have any fade back. I mean, the flight was almost identical. They just didn't have that last little bit of finish at the end. All right, let's get scope on these. You know, pretty well landed close together. That's not bad at all. So before we wrap up here, actually, I kind of would... Okay, so before we wrap up here, I kind of would like to throw these left-handed. I've been having a little bit of success with understable discs on my left hand. The challenge for me, though, is controlling the angle, because my left-handed release tends to be a little bit more Hyzer release. So with an understable disc, I don't want it to completely turn over. So I kind of got to cheat a bit and give it a little more Hyzer than maybe I normally would if I was throwing with my right hand. Okay, let's see. I'm going to move the camera here so it's slightly better angle. Oh no, I mean, worked out okay. Okay, let's try that again. Hey, not bad. Little nose up, and that was really straight, actually. That was super straight. All right, let's try this with the yellow, or with the orange one, the lighter one here. There we go. There's that Hyzer release I was talking about. And the halos. Oh, there's that turn. Come on back. Good distance, though. Great flight. All right, let's try that with the pink one. What bloody foot do I start with? All right, here we go. There we go. And there's that extra stability. So the stability kind of shows up too. I think my left hand probably isn't as strong as my right hand, so that stability is going to come through when you're not throwing it quite as hard. Just like if you were to throw an understable disc really soft, it's going to appear to be overstable. So I think with my left hand, where it's not quite as powerful as my right hand, you're getting that. The difference in the stabilities is going to appear as well. So all right, let's go pick those up. So as we go pick those up from the left-hand throws, I just want to say thanks again to Ed and Dan for getting my hands on these, giving me the chance to buy those. I'm really excited with them. Now, the real question for me is I bag a Fox. I actually put the yellow 180 Fox right in my bag after throwing it in the field. Would I change things around knowing what I know now based on how these other ones flew? And I think the answer is yeah. I think I might actually bag one of those halos, because I think it's going to give me the little bit more stability, that little bit more finish that I wasn't getting out of the Fox, so I can shape it a little bit more. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, let's get a measurement on those. The yellow one was terrible. We're not going to measure that. Ooh, and now the headwind starts, so it's a good time to get the understable disc off the field. All right, thanks again for joining me here today. Again, if you really want to improve your game, if you want to become a better disc golfer, practice your putting. I mean, you can put all the new discs in and out of your bag you want. If you want to cut down strokes, anybody in the world can cut strokes off their game by being better at putting. Anyone from Andrew Marweed to me to the brand new beginner. Practice your putting, get out there, throw some putts, and work on enjoying the game a lot more. Trust me, the game's a lot more fun when you're scoring better too. So we'll see you next time here on Graybeard Disc Golf.